Hey everyone, this is Leanne from Of Love and Ship Lab and the founder of Sublimation Graphics and Tutorials here on Facebook. If you're joining us on YouTube, please be sure to come join our Facebook group where all of our videos air live before they're added to our YouTube channel unedited. And of course, if you're catching us live on Facebook, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Those links are in the video description depending on where you're watching. Tonight's tutorial is going to be rather quick and it will be in Affinity Designer. Now I am using the Windows version of the software, but if you are using the Mac version, your layout and the steps you will follow will be the same. There are a few nuances of the Mac version that are different, such as you can't tile your panels over here on the side the way that I have them, but you can have them floating as an alternative option if you just want better visibility like I have. Aside from that, everything is pretty much the same in this software. We're going to be covering a frequently asked how-to on how to create leopard print block letters in Affinity Designer. Now you can use any pattern that you would like to fill your block letters. This is a very popular textile right now, and it is very versatile. It's a great option for both sublimation and white toner or screen printing. And it's especially great because a lot of it is just simple text words like Merry Christmas or Mama. And it's easy to quickly put together with the patterns of your choice. Now, if you enjoy watching our Affinity Designer tutorial tonight, don't forget to check out the Affinity Designer Digital Graphic Design Masterclass for Sublimation. The masterclass is 100 video hours. Learn at your own pace on your own time. And it is super in-depth. It's going to show you everything there is to know in an Affinity Designer, how to use all of the tools, and provide you with real examples and implementation of the skills that you are learning. There are interactive design challenges throughout the course that give you a chance to win prizes. And it is completely beginner friendly. Even if you have some knowledge but just want to feel completely confident, then this is the course for you. Especially going into the new year as you are thinking about ways to improve your business. That might be offering more customization work, being able to make edits to graphics that are provided by your customer base, or selling your own digital designs. No matter what your goals are, if it involves Affinity Designer, then the masterclass is for you. You can use the group discount code SUBTHAT to save yourself $30, and the links for this is in our video description. Let's go ahead and get started. We will select on File, New, and choose our document. Now I'm just going to choose my standard clip art size of 3600 pixels by 3600 pixels, but you would make your letters or text whatever size you need for the substrate that you are printing on. With sublimation, no other type of printing but sublimation, you always make sure your color format is set to RGB/8 and your color profile is sRGB IEC 1966-2.1. Again, this only applies to sublimation. This does not apply to any other type of printing. All other types of printing require CMYK format, not RGB. And if you have an ICC profile for your ink, that has nothing to do with your color profile for document setup. The ICC profile is specific for your print properties settings only. The settings for your document are universal. The settings for your printer are not. Your printer settings are going to be dictated by your printer, ink, and paper. We will hit create to start that document. Now, as I mentioned, this is a fairly quick tutorial. We're just going to be utilizing our text tool. So you can select that over here in your tools panel. You will want the artistic text tool, not the frame text tool. To switch between them, simply click on that little white arrow corner spot in the bottom. You can click and drag holding that left side of your mouse to create the scale that you'd like your letters to be, and then simply type them out. Now, I have made these a bit too big, so I will simply resize them by grabbing that corner node of my text box and dragging it inwards. This particular font, Arial, is a system font and it's actually great for this particular project, but for block letters with the block print inside, I really prefer a nice chunky font. So I do want to center these. I'm just going to choose that center align option quickly, and then come over here to my text panel and select the font that I would like. I'm going to be using Oswald today because this is a great chunky font that is available for free on Google Fonts and has a variety of variations. Now, I use this one often in my projects because this particular font tends to work for everything. If you are looking for an accent font, it's great. It works with pretty much all other styles of fonts. If you are in need of something that's simple for social media graphics or easy to read for a tagline, then this is also a great font choice. It's hands down one of my favorites, and it includes variations like a stencil variation and a distress stencil variation. So really, I can find endless uses for the Oswald font. Once you get your letters sized to about where you would like them, we want each individual letter to be its own layer, not have this grouped as a text. So we will right click on our text and select convert to curves. If for some reason you're having trouble right clicking, you will just go to layer and choose convert to curves here. It's not currently highlighted because we did already convert these to curves. It will create a group that has each individual letter on its own layer, and you can ungroup these. We don't need them grouped. So right click on that to ungroup. Now I wanted to make sure we covered the different styles of letters and how you would approach each one. So that's why we have Hat Go on our workspace. The block pattern filled letters are typically just a nice symmetrical chunk of the letter. So this leg of our H, this angle of our A, the top part of our T, half of our O, or part of our G are areas where you would typically fill with a pattern. The easiest way to do this and to make sure you have a seamless look across all of your alphabets is to use your shape tool. We're going to use rectangle today, and to create those blocks and then clip those blocks into each letter. So let's start by selecting our rectangle tool. You'll want to make sure that your snapping guide is turned on. That's that magnet in the top corner. Make sure that it shows that it is compressed, and you can select that drop down arrow there to select all of the different options so that your cursor will snap as you are creating your different shapes. Now over in my color panel, I don't need a stroke, so I will choose no fill for the stroke. And then for the filled circle, I'm just going to choose a light blue because that will be easier to see. We're going to bring it all the way up to the top corner of our H, and you'll notice that we get that little yellow square there and a red line and a green line letting us know those are our snapping guides that we are aligned to that top corner. I will click and drag until I hit that outer edge, or that inside edge of that leg of our H. And you will notice that when you have your snapping guides activated, that as you are moving your mouse, it automatically snaps to those edges. It's a little hard to tell that that's happening on the screen when you're viewing it, but when you are using it in real time, you will notice that. We're going to do a similar step over here with our T. So we'll start up at that top corner, and we will click and drag down and move across. Keep in mind that when you are trying to activate those snapping guides, you do need to go a little slower. You know, if you move too quickly, you're going to end up past them. But as long as you're moving at a casual pace, you will find that they do snap in line exactly where they all belong. Now for our A, we want to have this at an angle. There is the option in our transform panel to shear. It's this percentage that's down here in the corner. It's a little hard to see at the moment. If I pull that out, it is this right here, which will allow it to shear. So if I just make an arbitrary rectangle really quick, you'll see that you can use this to shear. You can also shear by simply hovering your mouse near the center nodes. with your move tool selected, hovering your mouse near the center nodes, and you'll get that up and down arrow, and you can shear. You can also do it side to side. So you can use this for the A, and as you can see, it snaps in pretty quickly, and you can adjust it from there. But if you don't feel like you're getting the best fit and you don't want to fuss around with it, then a much easier way, in my opinion, for something like this, let me move my transform panel back where it belongs, is to use the rectangle tool and then convert it to curves and adjust your nodes. So if you choose to use the rectangle tool, you'll click on that. You'll start at your bottom corner of your angle. And when you get those snapping guides activated, you'll drag it all the way across to the other one and then straight up until you hit the top of your letter. Next, in your context toolbar, you will select the Convert to Curves option. And then you will choose your node tool and you will simply adjust these two nodes. So I'm going to do the inside one first. We're going to adjust it until it is at the sloped angle from that bottom part of our letter A, and then I will grab the other one and snap it right into that top one. Now you do always want to just double check that everything is lined up accordingly. So if we zoom in, we can see if we've got any black edges, which we do there. You just tap that over. Looks like we might need to extend it just a hair. There we go. And now we are filled all the way up through. Now, for any curved letters like a G or an O or a C, you could choose to fill half of the letter horizontally or half of the letter vertically. You could also just choose to do one section of the letter. It's completely up to you and the style that you are going for. No matter which way you choose, you will select your rectangle tool. You want to start at where you are on the edge, where you see you have the red and green guidelines, and then click and drag to the bottom, and basically you're aiming to be in the middle. Now it's a little hard to see right now, but there is a green line on the side. Maybe if I zoom in, you can see it a little bit better. Okay, it's really difficult to see, but there is a green line right there, and that green line is letting us know that we're right in the middle of our O, and that is where we want to be for this one. Now, don't worry about the fact that it's covering it right now because we are going to be clipping all of these layers inside. So for layers that have relatively straight lines like H, A, and T, it's your visual is fine with it on top. Your visual looks a little impaired when you're working with a curve shape, but we will be clipping all of these layers into each letter, so it doesn't really matter. So we'll do the same thing on our G. And for something like the G, you can also do the halfway as well. And you can adjust these. You can adjust these after the fact. So your main thing is just to get your baseline of how you are lining up your sections to pattern fill one part of your letters. You can rename each of these layers by simply selecting the name in the layers panel one click, and it will allow you to rename them pretty easily. And renaming your layers is always beneficial just to make it easy to find things later on. Okay, so now you'll go ahead and select all of these layers, all of your top block layers that you've created in your layers panel. You can hold down Control or Command and select each one individually, or you can hold down the Shift key and select the one at the top and the one at the bottom, and it will select everything that is in between. You're then going to choose your fill tool, which is this one that has the little rainbow wheel next to it. When you select this, you want to make sure that your fill is selected. There's fill or stroke here. And then underneath type, you're going to choose bitmap. Bitmap is the option that you will choose anytime you want to fill this with digital paper. We are going to do the leopard print today, but you could really choose any pattern you want depending on what it is that your text is being used for. And again, you can actually sell these as individual letters As long as you have commercial use of that font, you can create each individual letter and sell it as an entire alphabet, or you can create simple words like mama and wild thing and whatever else that's really popular right now. So when we select bitmap, it is going to give us our documents folder here, and we will come down to design life, graphics, and digital papers. And we want our leopard print ones. Okay. Don't get too jealous about how organized this folders look. I did not do this. My virtual assistant has been on the task. So I can't take any credit for everything being organized for once. And my other files outside of my clip art elements and digital papers are not organized at all. So, you know, one step at a time. So I'm going to choose this leopard print. This collection of this gold foil leopard print is from Digital Curio. She has a lot of these metallic-y type of elements in her shop. She has a shop on Etsy, Creative Fabrica, Design Bundles, Hungry JPEG, pretty much everywhere you can buy your favorite digital graphics. I personally use Creative Fabrica. I have the Creative Fabrica membership. I use it specifically for fonts and digital papers, and occasionally I get some cute clip art elements that I use for my stickers, for the packaging stickers that I sell on my website. But digital papers and fonts that all come with commercial use are the number one thing that I do get from there. It makes the membership 100% worth it. So when you select open, it's going to go ahead and fill your blocks that we have selected. Now you'll see here that you have this extend option and there's a drop down. You have wrap, mirror, repeat, and 0. Now 0 will not have any kind of tiling added. Wrap, mirror, and repeat all have different types of tiling. This particular digital paper is perfectly seamless on every side. So wrap, mirror, or repeat will work perfectly. If you have one that is only seamless on 2 sides, then you may need to use the mirror option. And if you have one that is not seamless at all, or is perfectly seamless, you can use the repeat option as well. It really will just depend on your digital paper. Every digital paper is different. I try and only get ones that are seamless on all sides, but it doesn't always work that way. But you can choose between those, and you'll know if you see a line that clearly is a line in between your different digital paper squares that you need to choose a different one. These little anchors here will allow you to adjust the size by extending them outwards. And you can also rotate the fill of your pattern by moving it around that center access point. So once you're happy with the pattern that it is, you can simply select back on your move tool. And now we are going to clip each block into its associated letter. Clipping in Affinity Designer is the easiest of any software because it is one step. You simply click the layer that you want to clip and drag it into the layer that it needs to be clipped into. So we're going to grab our H block and we're going to clip it into our H layer. And all you need to do is make sure that your cursor is touching the name of that layer and it will be inside of it. So we will do that for our T. Again, we're selecting the layer we want to clip in and dragging it so our cursor is touching the name of the one we want to clip inside. And then for our O, notice how now it's perfectly in half, and then our G as well. Now, if for some reason you wanted to adjust this, you can also just select that layer and you can move it over. Maybe we decided we want to have the other half of the G patterned. You can simply move it over as well. I don't want that. I'll put it back where it was. And that's it. It is that easy to create these block pattern filled letters. This particular textile is super popular right now, and it is a trend that I anticipate will last for a little while. And with all the digital papers that are available or that you can possibly create yourself, the sky is the limit onto how many patterned alphabets you can sell. And as I mentioned, If you have a font that allows it and it is in the commercial use statements, you can export each individual letter as a PNG, and you can create those, you can create an entire alphabet that you can sell. So would just take each one and go to File and then Export, and you can choose Selection Only, and it will export that underneath your PNG tab when you click that export button. I don't need to save these because we know that I am not a fan of leopard print or cheetah print, whatever you want to call it, animal prints in general. So I hope that this tutorial was easy to follow. And for those of you who have been asking for it, that this gave you the foundation that you need to create all of the patterned block letters of your choosing. Once again, don't forget to check out the Affinity Designer Digital Graphic Design Masterclass if you are interested in learning everything there is to know. Learn at your own pace, chances to win prizes. It's a great course. People are loving it. Just check out the hashtag ADMC in the group and you can see all the things that people are saying. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.